when your freedoms are being taken. It is time for history to repeat itself and stand. Black Robe Patriots. Your host, Dr. Cindy Flowers and Pastor Ladina Boo.
Good morning. It's Ladina Boo from Stockton, Missouri. And Matthew, once again, has got us on the air. And he just waved bye to everybody. So how are you today? How's life in Michigan? You got snow or anything up there?
It's been dreary. It's like just overcast, constant overcast, and it's like, come on, where's the sun? If it's gonna snow, snow. If it's gonna rain, then do that. Don't just not do anything. Do something. But the overcast, yeah, after a while, no sunlight. Like today.
I hate it whenever it's so dreary like that. Down here, the sun is shining really brightly. I know because I have to drive east on my way here every morning, and the sun is always in my eyes. I always congratulate myself on getting here because I cannot see on like 32 miles of road.
That's the only time I have to do is really winter time, sunny and the snow, and the sun reflects off the snow, and it's like I can't see. You're trying to squint and sunglasses on. You're like, I can't see. It's like, am I in the right lane?
Yeah, well, at least my car tells me if I cross the line. It's a little bossy that way. It tries to pull me back where I belong. So I depend on it on Monday mornings when I try to get here. So anyway,
yeah, Mondays.
We have made our way up to the 14th Amendment, and we hear a lot about the 14th Amendment these days with President Trump and everything they're trying to do to him. What really irritates me is the fact that, if they're talking about Obama or they're talking about Biden or they're talking about Clinton or any of that, they call them president. I have not heard one single news person call President Trump President Trump. It's always Mr. Trump, which is a little irritating to me.
Yeah, it is. It's them just being disrespectful.
They've lost all sense of the pomp and circumstance behind that office, and we need to address our presidents as president. It's not Mr. Trump; it's President Trump. Everybody else gets to be called president, so pay attention to that.
People who shouldn't even be called president.
Well, yeah, we've got one in the office right now. That was bad. I'm sorry. Anyway, the 14th Amendment is pretty long, so we'll take it a section at a time. Section 1 says, all persons born and naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges of immunities of citizens in the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. And that got in there because it guaranteed that everyone born or naturalized in the United States would be a citizen. And in Scott versus Sanford in 1857, the Supreme Court held that African Americans were not U.S. citizens, even if they were free. So hopefully we've moved past that. Black, white, whatever color you are, you are a citizen of the United States, and I think you need to start
Exactly.
acting like it. Okay, you know,
E- Exactly. Exactly. Uh, that part there, uh, I think a lot of this, I know that it pertains to what was going on with the slaves and stuff, but the slaves lived here, they were born here, and then their children were born here, and so they're Americans. They are citizens. But this screams to me about the whole illegals coming in. And I refuse to call them migrants. No, they are illegals. And I was looking at in my Bible, and this had come out to me, this verse, and I thought, wait a minute, this 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 makes a lot of sense here, and it really spoke to me. It's in John chapter 10, verse 1, and it says, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber." Now, that pertains to a lot of things, but if you come the right way into this country, no matter what you try to do, you are not a citizen. You're not a citizen. You're not.
I took the citizenship test a couple of weeks ago just so I could see what it was like, and I passed it.
Yeah.
Okay, basic understanding of our Constitution and our rights allows us, uh, certain freedoms and so forth. And, if you're going to come into this country, then you need to take a citizenship test if you think you're going to stay here. Become a citizen.
Yeah.
Stop this stuff about coming across the border and planting a Mexican flag on U.S. soil, which is what they did over the weekend. That's ridiculous.
Ugh,
This is the United States. It's not Mexico. It's not Venezuela. It's not
exactly.
Guatemala. It's not any of those other places you came from. So if you come into the United States, you salute the United States flag and stop planting your other flags on our ground. I get a little testy about that one, okay?
Yeah, but it's true. If they're trying to get away from, see, that makes no sense. If you are trying to get away from asylum from a country that you're living in, you don't carry that flag and swear allegiance to that country. You are running from it to have a new life and a new country. That's how it works. You don't bring that along with you. And if you say, well, that's where I was born, well, then stay there. And it's people go, oh, that's
Yeah,
terrible.
go back.
That's racist. That's this. No, it's true. If you don't, if you don't like where your parents, if you don't living at home and you don't like your parents' rules, what do they tell you? Well, Don, if you don't like living here, you don't like the way we have the rules, move out. Move out.
Right. Go get your own house, do what you want to do. But, we have certain rules, and we have rules and laws in this country. And all of the people coming across the border, you need to understand that. And like I say, I was extremely distraught because they came over and they were all saying, "Thank you, Mr. Biden. Thank you, Mr. Biden," and then planted the flag of their country on our soil. No, don't do it. If I was at the border, nobody would like
Right.
me, okay? Uh, like I
Yeah,
say,
well,
this
you're
started
right.
this started out, to make sure that the blacks were citizens, and all the ones who were previously slaves are now citizens of the United States. Now, there was
Hmm.
an issue when they wrote the 14th Amendment because the 14th Amendment, it got a lot of flack from the women's rights groups. Even after the Civil War, okay, there were women's rights groups. And this amendment added the word male into the United States Constitution in Section 2, which I'm going to read here in a second, which dealt explicitly with voting rights and used the term male. And women's rights advocates, especially those who were promoting women's suffrage or the granting of vote to the women, were extremely outraged. But this is the only amendment that actually used the word male. But Section 2 says, representatives shall be apportioned among the several states according to their respective numbers, counting the whole number of persons in each state, excluding Indians not taxed. Wow, that's weird. But when the right to vote at any election for the choice of electors for president and vice president of the United States, representatives in Congress, the executive and judicial officers of a state, or the members of the legislature thereof, is denied to any of the male inhabitants of such state, being 21 years of age and a citizen of the United States or in any way abridged, except for participation in rebellion or other crime. The basis of representation therein shall be reduced to the proportion which the number of such male citizens shall bear to the whole number of male citizens 21 years of age in such state. So this is the only amendment that actually says something about male rights. So even in 1866 and up to 1868, whenever this was ratified, there was a problem with that particular section of the 14th Amendment. And it still says male.
Now, does this mean, Pastor Ladina, I got to ask you this question. Does this mean biological male, or does this mean to any kind of male?
Good question, because I think it should be just biological male. She's asking me that because, my other show, Trials and Triumphs, I've been talking about trying to transition our children, which is hideous and disgusting. And if you're thinking about transitioning your child before they're 25 years old, then you're crazy. Okay, back off.
All right. So I things were, when you look at the men and women back that day, and I'm not saying this for all men and women today. I'm not saying this bad about you. I mean, that there are still the good ones. But the men and women were different. The men, even by the age of 21, their maturity and their courage and bravery and everything was different than it is today. We have a lot of men, that instead of running towards the danger, they run from it. They run and hide from it, or and it's like, and then the roles, I don't know, it's all mixed up, but it doesn't work, because no matter how much women try to say that they're as strong as men, or if not stronger, that's not true biologically, because women are emotional, and as much as you want to try to deny it, You cannot. It's how you're made. And then these men that want to turn into women, no matter how many times you raise your pinky and go, "Oh, is this so funny?" and talk like that. And that's not. I think that's the point I'm getting at here is I think that's why they specified male, because the males were a lot different back then. They were hunter, there was gatherer. Not that women's were enslaved for things, but the men were men, men, men. You get what I'm saying.
Yeah. They go down and
Yeah.
chop down a tree, and they'd split the wood, and they'd do all that stuff that, if you ask some young person today to do that, they might take 2 swings, with an axe, and that would be it because they'd be tired or they'd get blisters on their hands, okay? Their hands are soft
Yeah.
these days because all they do is play with a phone.
Yeah. Hi,
You know?
this is a picture of what I'm doing. Uh, they're cruel. They're making me work. They're making me work for a 6-hour shift.
Now, 6-hour shift or an 8-hour shift, and then you start crying on Facebook about it. I've been
Yeah.
working 8 to 14 hours a day since I was 15 years old. I'm 65, and if I can do it, you can get your butt out there and do it, okay?
Yeah.
Go find
Yeah.
a way to
Working two
make a
working 2 jobs.
living. Mhm.
Yeah.
But they
So, but it's
they finally did allow the Indians to be citizens of the United States, and in 1924, when they passed the Indian Citizenship Act, and this amendment was written back in like 1866, so it took up to 1924 for Indians who owned this country in the first place to become citizens, and then in 1898, the Supreme Court held that a child born here was an American citizen, even if their parents were not citizens of the United States. So there's been a lot of
what do they call that?
litigation with regard. What did they
What
call
did they
what?
call that? There's a name for it.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not sure, but it was in the
There's a name
United States.
for it
One Kim,
where
let's see, it's
they
United States
people
versus one Kim.
anchor babies. Anchor babies,
Yeah,
that's what it was called. No, no anchor
yeah, we've got
babies. That's not doesn't make you a citizen.
Yeah, you'll find that there's certain places, especially a few hotels that I'm aware of in California, where part of these illegals are coming into our country from all around the world just to have a baby. They go in there and they're pregnant, and they keep doctors on staff at this hotel to deliver all these babies. So they all have an anchor baby to become part of our nation. If they don't
Yeah,
make the effort to become a United States citizen, well then, I don't care if you got an anchor baby, okay? You don't need to be here. If you're not going to support the United States, then you don't need to be here.
exactly.
I'm getting
If
nasty
I
this
if
morning.
I was if you or me were, say, very pregnant, and you were, say, you were visiting England, and you went into labor, and you had your baby there in England, that doesn't make you a citizen, and you can't ride on your child where your child was born. Um, what would end up happening is that child would get a dual citizenship because it was born there, but the parents wouldn't, because you have nothing to do with it.
Right.
But that's what they want to do here is they think, hey, if I run the border, uh, drop and roll, have it here. The baby is an American citizen, so we can stay here. We're automatic citizens. No, you're not. You have to leave. You're not a citizen. Why? The slaves had every single right um, that to be citizens anyway. Why the Democrats didn't have to be, I have no idea, but they had every right to be because they were born in this country. They were born here.
Mm-hmm.
After they brought them over,
Right.
their children had children, and their children had children, and children, and children. That's their blood were here in these southern states. So they have every single right to claim citizenship. I
Right.
mean,
You know,
if you come over legally the right way, that's okay then.
yeah. If you're coming across the border illegally, my personal request is go back. Okay. We have way too many coming across our border illegally right now, and nobody's putting a stop to it. And it's just going
No,
to,
no,
they want to make our country like the place they left. And so if you don't want to live in the United States under the United States rules and, conduct yourself as a United States citizen, an upright, upstanding citizen, then fine. But if you don't want to do that, don't come over here. Period. Apply
yes,
like everybody else
exactly,
does. So,
exactly. And then just to make it clear, so you guys don't all get it twisted, there's no hate towards any of these other countries, cultures. There's no hate. There's no racism. Let's make this clear. If I was to go and illegally sneak into Mexico, illegally try to sneak into like England and stuff, I would be arrested or I would be immediately deported. But in Mexico, you are arrested immediately.
mm,
Immediately, you will sit in jail for gosh knows how long. Why? Because you're trying to sneak into their country. See, it's because they think that they're going to all these illegals for votes, and then they're going to get rid of you. Who knows what they're doing, what they're trying to do? But the fact of it is that you can't. That's you. You're there. If the country was being run as it's supposed to,
mm-hmm.
you would get turned away, or if you snuck in, you would get sent back, or you would sit in a prison because you
Yeah.
don't cross this country's borders illegally. You just don't. It doesn't, and there's no hate, there's no racism about it. You just don't do it. It's just what
Right.
it is.
You know, even if you go back in the Bible, I mean, they built walls around their cities. They had a place where you had to go in a certain spot in order to get into that city. And if you were somebody who's at war with them or something, they're not going to let you in. Okay. And we're letting in entirely too many people right now that do not love our nation. Cindy and I both love our nation. Okay. United States is the greatest place in the world whenever we have um, presidents and senators and representatives that follow the Constitution and do what is right. And right now, we've got so many administrative offices that are running our country instead of our Constitution. And that's why we have so many issues.
Exactly,
But let's see.
exactly.
So, third
So
section, disqualification from holding office. No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president to hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state, who have previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability. That's where they're trying to get President Trump. They're trying to say that he started an insurrection. I'm sorry.
Imagine
What happened on January 6th was a protest by United States citizens. There were a few of them that got rowdy, but and so they considered it a riot. But there is no state or no court that has ever officially called that an insurrection. It's only people like Nancy Pelosi and all of those people that want to call it an insurrection. But they're trying to use that to keep Mr. Trump, President Trump, from running again. Well, there's no restriction against him running again when you look at the 14th Amendment. They're really trying to use that to keep him out of office. And trust me, we could go on forever on that.
that insurrection, by the way, as we go into more of the Constitution, we as United States citizens have the right, if we feel things are not right and are not being done correctly in this country, right to rebel about that. Now, an insurrection, let's make this clear, an insurrection uses weapons where they put the guns right to the people's faces and they take over. What is a 60-year-old woman who is just holding a Trump flag, wearing a Make America Great Again hat, who was escorted into the Capitol? Look, we all have gotten to see the footage. It's out. And FBI, we see the police let people in. It was a setup.
Yeah.
And people go, "Oh, you're just a denier. You're an idiot. You're this and that." But
I
it was
watched
not
them
an
guy in
insurrection.
there in the Capitol with handcuffs on, and as soon as he got in there, they took the handcuffs off and gave him a fist bump and let him wander around the Capitol building. Okay, that was not an insurrection.
No, it was not. It was called Stop the Steal. And then even afterwards, Mike Pence admitted that, and it was a right. He could have went ahead and just said and postponed the verifying the votes and said, "I want to look into these states right now, because with these senators bringing this to my attention, we're gonna postpone verification of this so we can have a look at it." He had every right to do so. Every right. And when you try to turn it around, you liberals always do, there is actual footage of when you guys fought against somebody that was voted in, that you said, "Oh, it was illegal," and you stood up and you tried to fight against it. You didn't want to verify. You remember that? We do.
Yep, and they're still fighting over the 2020 election because I forget what state it's in. I think it was Louisiana that they actually overturned the election from 2020. In 2023, they voided that entire election because of the fraud and the votes that were not legal votes. And, at this point in life, it's too much trouble to go back and deal with it. But, we need to elect President Trump in 2024 and get all this stuff out of the way. I'm sorry, I'm putting out my political opinions here, but, it's my show. I can put out my opinions as I want.
Exactly, exactly. It's just that
Where
that
the
this is
start of
what
snow.
happens. This is what happens when you start believing, watching the news, the mainstream media, twist and
Hmm.
everything, and make things more than what they actually are, and you don't know your Constitution. That's what happens. You believe all this stuff when you can obviously see, number one, shaking a fence. It does not
Uh-huh.
constitute 17 years in federal prison.
Right.
Okay. Taking
Well,
down a
we got quite
BLM flag. Oh,
yeah.
go ahead.
A BLM flag is not anything to do with our nation, okay? That's a splinter group over here, and most of the people on January 6th were carrying American flags. you know, and they
Yes.
took down
By the
things like
way,
Black Lives.
America, when
Go ahead.
I saw a video, of someone that was here and here in the United States and was walking around bewildered, going, "Wow, there are so many American flags that are here that they fly." And it's like, well, it goes like this. We're the United States. So the United States is going to fly the American flag. See how that works? See how that works? And if I go to England, they're going to fly the English flag. If I go to Scotland, they're going to fly the Scottish flag. If I go to Russia, do you see how that works? And then you act amazed and you're videotaping yourself with your phone going, look at all these American flags.
Yeah, and then
What's
we have those various towns in like Minnesota, which have been taken over by Muslim groups for the most part. And so the one guy who's lived there his entire life, I mean, at this one town, it's like all the signs for the restaurants and everything are written in Arabic. Okay, this is the United States. We don't need your Arabic signs. Put them in English so people know what's going on. But this gentleman was flying a flag in his front yard. He's flown it since the Vietnam War, where he was a soldier. And every night he has to put that flag back up because somebody comes down and takes the flag down. In this particular town, they do not want the American flag flown anywhere. That is not what you do in our nation, okay? You are causing issues by flying your Arabic flags and putting all your signs in Arabic and harassing the people who are flying the United States flag. There's no reason for it.
exactly? Exactly. See, you gotta, if you're going to be a citizen, when you are granted citizenship, like when you talk to people that went through everything they had to go through all the steps to become a legalized citizen. And on that day, they get sworn in as a legal American citizen. They love this country. They are happy. They're excited. They love this country. When you sneak in here, you people don't love this country. You come with the attitude that we owe you something. Oh, this isn't good enough. This isn't good. You're as the scripture said, you're considered a thief or a robber. You
Right.
have removed people. You've taken. You want people, the taxpayers, to take care of you with insurance and everything else, and take from citizens' mouths and give them to you. And that's not how it
Well, that's like
works.
yeah, like in New York, they've got so many illegals up there in New York, and they're putting up in the empty rooms at the hotels and stuff. And then they decided to take over a nursing home, and they put a 78-year-old veteran on the street so that illegal immigrants could live in his facility. We don't do that to our veterans, okay? This is hideous. And I can't believe that they're doing that and, disrespecting our veterans in that fashion. But they did that in New York. And they had them up in a great big fancy hotel. And then there was a convention coming in. So they had to leave the hotel. Well, they refused to do so. They stood out in the lobby and they refused to leave that hotel. They wanted their rooms back. And, and we're paying for that. Okay. We're paying their bills.
Exactly. Exactly. And
You
they
know,
went
and we're
ahead and in New York on Thanksgiving, they told the homeless people around the area what time to come, that they were going to get, their Thanksgiving turkey dinners and bring the children families. They told somehow told the illegals that were staying there, come at this time. They went, these got all the Thanksgiving dinner. There was nothing left for the homeless, for our own citizens, for you citizens. That
you know,
food that was to go for our homeless citizens went to illegals, ones that just walked right into this country and expect that you owe them. And they want to play, well, we stand by you. No, you don't. You're only using them for whatever. Because
yeah,
with
because we're, you
you,
know, they're not paying me money every month. Okay. Why are we spending our
yeah,
tax dollars and letting these people do whatever they want to do um, and giving them money when we can't even take care of our veterans or our own citizens? We have an issue here,
exactly,
and I'm
exactly,
not belittling
exactly.
and letting them, or saying anything about it. But if you want to come in our country, then do it legally, okay? Do what you're supposed to do. Stop this invasion that's going on. You know.
Exactly. Yep.
Anyway, let's
Yep.
move on.
Yep. And yes. Next.
Section 4. The validity of the public debt of the United States authorized by law, including debts incurred for payment of pensions and bounties for services in suppressing insurrection or rebellion, shall not be questioned. But neither the United States nor any state shall assume or pay any debt or obligation incurred in aid of insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss of emancipation of any slave, but all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. And then Section 5 says the Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. So, Article 14 goes into a lot of different sections there. But the main thing right now is Article, the 14th Amendment is being used in court cases against all of the people that have been sitting in prison for well over 1,000 days with no court hearings. Our J6 people that are up there, they're still being held in solitary confinement. They're being abused. They're being put in rooms with no toilets or anything in there. It's just horrendous what they're doing to citizens of our own country that they want to call insurrectionists. It was not an insurrection, okay? It was a protest. We have the right in our First Amendment to go out and protest if we choose to do so. And they turned it into
Amen. Yep.
something way,
Amen.
and putting
That's
people in
exactly right.
with nothing, so
Now, it
the
just says
14th Amendment
here,
is getting thrown around a lot lately.
it says here, um, shall be anything that comes against insurrection or rebellion against the United States, or any claim for the loss or emancipation of any slave, but all such debts, obligations, and claims shall be held illegal and void. Okay, I want to look at here. It makes me wonder. Okay, at the border by droves, they're told they're not allowed, the border patrol is not allowed to fight back. They are
Mhm.
coming in, throwing bottles and rocks and everything. Is that not an insurrection against the United States and Asian that they are coming in like that? Even they're coming in illegally and not even respectfully. Not even respectfully.
Right.
They are harming our American citizens that work the
Right.
border. Now,
Well, they're harming the
where's
people that live
the
along the
laws
border
to
too.
protect
You know, the people that live
them?
along the
So
border, they get all their stuff torn up or trashed out or something like that. And there's no reason for it. Okay. A little common courtesy says that you don't go throwing your trash all over somebody else's property and you don't cut their fences. Trust me, I know those fences are a pain in the butt. I have to build them frequently. But you come
that
across the
makes me
border and you
wonder about.
start tearing up stuff, you know, it's not right in any way, shape, or form. We have got to get people to understand the laws of this country and put them back in place. And everybody that you've let across that border, you put over, I don't know, I forget the number, 10,000, 15,000 or whatever, that have come across our border and you don't even know where they're at. Okay. You've lost 5,000 children. You don't know where you put them. You don't know where they're at. You know, this is ridiculous and it is unfair to the citizens of this nation to have to deal with that. And you cannot call January 6th in Washington, D.C., an insurrection. You want to know what an insurrection is? Go back and look at Portland a couple of years ago, whenever Black Lives Matter and everybody went up there and they took over the entire house and all the uh, buildings for doing the laws of Oregon. And they were there for months and nobody pushed them out. That's an insurrection.
Yeah, yep, exactly.
No,
That's
they
exactly.
were evil.
And, you know, to go back even further, America would not be America today. I mean, not even the United States. Forget about the United States, but just America and our 13 colonies was why an insurrection, if you would like to call it that, because what the people did, they rose up and said, you know what? Enough's enough. We're not having done to us anymore. Stop the steal was not an insurrection. People behind the scenes took advantage of that and knew what was going on. There was this, and you can see it. There's too many questions. And if here's the thing that I would like to see in 2004, I would like to see the American, and I say that because there is a difference between the American people and people that live in the United States. I would like to see the American people January 1st, 2024, reminding every single person that works in Congress, works in the Senate, anywhere, the President of the United States, school boards, everything. Remind them they work for us. And they don't work for us. We employ them. We employ people. We employ people in the they us we work for them. No, no, no. No, no, no. They need back into the time where they need to understand the taxpayer. They work for us. They work for us. We are their bosses. Instead of being treated, you go to try to talk to them and ask them a question. They call the police on you, the house police, and so don't bother me, and excuse me, I have every right to ask you questions because
Right.
I pay your paycheck. You know, I hope that changes, that people start to that and get that back to where how it used to be, because they've just
Right.
As you can see, they're up there.
No. Well, we've got reached the end of our show today again, and we could go back on this one 2 or 3 times if we wanted to on the 14th Amendment, because like I say, it's one of those that they're really trying to get President Trump hung up on, and the J6ers that are sitting in prison and so forth. Somebody's got to go to Congress and read them the definition of an insurrection and then a definition of a protest. There's a difference. Stop the Steal was a protest, not an insurrection. So, I don't care what you say. If you don't like it, write me an email. Okay. I'll read it and we can discuss it, or, comment on this show and give us your opinion. And other than that, I guess we're going to get out of here, and we'll see everybody on Wednesday. Cindy's on at what time are you on? 10 o'clock on Wednesday.
10 o'clock.
That's
10
all
o'clock
Central
Wednesday,
Standard.
yep.
And then I have Trials and Triumphs at 11 o'clock. And this week I'll have Matt and Jude back. Well, hopefully I've got Matt back from Gays Against Groomers, so we can have a conversation again. I love that couple. They're really nice. But, right now we're going to have to tell you goodbye, and we'll see you again on Wednesday. Oh, goodbye, Miss Cindy.
All right. We'll see you Wednesday.